In this video, I wanted to focus a little bit more on departure zones and kind of show you a couple of alternate methods from the one I used in my original departure zone video in my station tutorial. So the first one we have here is one that's been around for a while, and it's the dispenser method. So basically, we can pretend this is the Pez dispenser over here, and in between the incoming track from the Pez dispenser, or the outgoing track from the Pez dispenser, and the ramp that leads to our departure platform, we have a little detector rail that will trigger when the minecart goes over it, and that detector rail is plugged into a item dispenser. The dispenser will shoot out an item that will land on this wooden pressure plate, and the pressure plate's output is inverted, so by default these tracks are on. When the item is launched onto the plate, it will turn the tracks off, and then our cart will come, go up the ramp, and drop down onto the deactivated tracks right here. However, when we get in the cart, we will be able to gather the item through this corner right here, which will deactivate the pressure plate, thereby reactivating our tracks and sending us on our way. So let's test it out here. So there it is. You can see the item sitting on the pressure plate and the deactivated tracks. Then when I jump in, I gather that item and off I go. So my main problem with this is it kind of has a couple of built-in failure points. One, once you run out of items here, the whole system will break down. And two, the items that are sitting on this pressure plate will eventually despawn. So if we say call a cart and then get distracted, don't jump in right away, we have something like 5 minutes before that item despawns, which will then activate our tracks and send an empty cart off down the track. So for me, that was sort of unacceptable. You may like this method, but I didn't want to run that risk. So then I kind of moved on to this next method that originally I saw in a form that was more like this. So what we have here is a track coming out of our Pez dispenser that goes down in a little trench, and then comes up. The cart will jump from this powered rail right here and sort of land in between these two track pieces. So it won't be activating this detector rail, and so this powered rail will not be receiving power. You'll end up with something kind of like this right here. However, when we jump into it, that kind of changes the system, causes our cart to rock back onto the detector rail, which then powers the powered rail and sends us off down the track. Now my problem with this originally, and the reason I didn't include it in my station tutorial, was I found it's very dependent on the speed at which the cart comes into the system. So I've kind of set this one up deliberately to fail. So when the cart comes in this case, I can jump in and you can see nothing is happening. What's going on is that the cart gets hung up on the powered rail, and if it has not enough momentum or too much momentum, it can kind of stick on this powered rail, and so when you jump in, it won't rock back and forth. So that's kind of the reason I didn't use this originally. However, after some comments posted by Pear Squirrel on my departure zone video, I decided to go back and kind of take a second look at this, and I came across another method of building this that kind of removes that failure point from it. So instead, what we're going to do is just use a ramp like we always have, which now seems kind of obvious, although when I first looked at that, it didn't occur to me for some reason. But basically, the incoming cart will hit this block, which will kill all its forward momentum. So it doesn't matter how fast this cart's coming into our outgoing or our departure zone right here. It will always land on the little V of track with the same speed. That way we kind of get around that bug. So I think this is worth sort of showing you how to build that V of track, because that may not be immediately obvious. So basically what we do is I'm going to destroy sort of the third block on our ramp right here, and then dig a 2-block trench just like that. Then I'll go drop just any kind of track where that block was, followed by a detector rail, and then the powered rail like that. Then we can go and destroy that normal track piece I had there, and replace it with a wooden block in this case. So then when we call the cart, it has the same amount of momentum no matter how many times we do it, and when we jump in, off we go. So now that that bug is worked out, I think that this is probably the method I'm going to use in the future. I really liked it originally. I just didn't want something that failed fairly frequently. So thanks to Perisquirrel again for suggesting this method and motivating me to take another look at it. So those are kind of our different methods of arrival zones. Or departure zones rather, they all kind of have certain pros and cons, but I think this one's probably going to be the way to go, in my opinion. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm also going to be making another video about arrival zones and kind of new strategies for that, since a lot of people don't like the loop of track. So stay tuned for that.